When he opened his eyes again, he was no longer in his room. The space was a disorienting labyrinth, every wall, floor, and ceiling made of flawless glass. It was as if the world had been carved from crystal. Reflections stretched in every direction, multiplying endlessly into shimmering infinity. Images repeated, mirrored, echoed in recursive loops that made it impossible to tell where space ended and illusion began. The slightest movement or sound echoed through the chamber, reverberating off the walls as if the space itself were amplifying every breath. It was impossible to tell where Sebastian's reflection ended and the mirrored hall began. His sense of self wavered. He felt as though he had stepped out of time, lost within an infinite cascade of images, reflections of reflections, spiraling endlessly outward. Then, his mirrored image began to distort. At first, the changes were subtle. A shimmer across his face, as though a breeze passed over the glass. Then, the transformation deepened. His features aged rapidly, his hair grayed, his skin wrinkled, his cheeks hollowed. His eyes turned dark, sunken, ghost-like. The reflection no longer looked like him at all. Face after face rippled across the mirror, each one a warped, surreal echo of himself, as if drawn from different lifetimes or alternate versions of reality. One moment he looked heroic, the next monstrous, and then unrecognizable, a mask twisted by time and distortion. It was like watching his soul fracture into endless possibilities. Still, Sebastian stood firm. He repeated his name over and over, each time louder, clearer, more determined. Sebastian, Sebastian, Sebastian. The air thickened. His voice began to resonate not just within the room, but within his body, as if calling his name summoned something deeper than identity. Then, suddenly, the mirror softened. He felt his body lurch forward, not as though he had stepped through the glass, but as if the mirror had accepted him. He closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he was lying on the floor. The hall of mirrors surrounded him, but he was no longer inside it. Nor was he the same person he had seen in the glass. He sat up. The space had changed. The brilliant light of the hall now illuminated a vast corridor stretching endlessly in both directions. The glass was still there, but it had become a boundary, an invisible barrier separating him from what had come before. He tried to break it, slamming his fists against the surface, but it held firm. Ahead, darkness loomed. A faint glimmer of light flickered at the far end of the corridor. Fear coiled in his chest. He tried once more to shatter the barrier, but it refused to yield. With no other path, he turned and walked toward the dark. The light dimmed behind him. The air grew damp and heavy, clinging to his skin. Shadows pressed in, erasing any sense of direction. Every step was swallowed by silence. Then, without warning, a spark fell from above. It struck the ground, igniting a ring of flame that burst into brilliant life. But the fire did not burn. It shimmered, alive with a divine energy that crackled through the air. The circle pulsed with a golden light, forming a perfect boundary that seemed to lift the space beyond time itself. From its center, a man rose. He floated effortlessly, motionless, as though untouched by the laws of gravity. His robes moved in slow currents, black at the edges, and shifting to a radiant white near his chest. There, over his heart, a faint symbol glowed, an abstract constellation of interlocking circles that shimmered like starlight. His body radiated presence, immense, solemn, eternal. His skin glowed like carved light, and when his eyes opened, they were not eyes at all, but galaxies, dark and endless, filled with sorrow, wisdom, and power older than the stars. Sebastian stood frozen. He didn't need to ask who it was. He already knew. He did not speak with his mouth. His lips remained sealed, but his voice filled the space, soft and immense, like the breath of the earth carried across eons. It vibrated not in Sebastian's ears, but in his chest, in his bones, resonating with the calm authority of a being who had existed long before humanity. "Welcome, Sebastian. I have waited for you longer than you can imagine." Behind the radiant figure, a vast obsidian wall rose from the void, etched with glowing golden script. The names of Numens, written in the tongues of Earth, Akka, and Liber, shimmered like embers caught in sacred wind. They pulsed slowly, like heartbeats from forgotten civilizations, each one a whispered prayer echoing through time. The air was charged with awe. The boundary between human and divine had thinned to a thread. Though Numens radiated serenity, Sebastian could see the sorrow woven into the stillness of his form. It was the weariness of abandonment, of being cast into non-existence, carrying a silence too vast for words. Numens' voice surged, intimate, knowing. It washed over Sebastian with infinite warmth, grating against something raw inside him. His eyes moistened. You have learned the truth, though not by the easiest path. But truth, Sebastian, always finds its way, breaking through illusion to stand in the open. It was hidden from you at first, not to deceive, but to protect. Truth, unveiled too early, can shatter what it seeks to illuminate. He paused, letting the silence settle like snow. Now, however, you know everything. The different versions of the Elysium, the burden of power, the fracture between gods. You carry the weight of knowledge, and with it, the strength to stand. His tone deepened. You fear the future, and that is human. But understand this. If you choose to rise, you can overcome whatever stands in your way. You already possess the strength. You must only learn to wield it. Sebastian lowered his eyes. Then he looked up at Numens and spoke, not with anger, but with exhaustion and honesty. I don't know if I want to keep fighting anymore, he said. The trial of evolution was supposed to be about saving my planet. But it was all built on a lie. And now I'm tired. Tired in a way I've never felt before. I don't belong here. I don't feel chosen. I feel fooled. His voice broke slightly. Before I discovered this gift, I had never achieved anything. And I thought, maybe this was it. My moment. That power would make me someone worth remembering. But all it did was pull me further from who I was. If I could go back, I'd choose a quiet life. A simple one. I don't want this gift anymore. I don't want to fight. I don't want to know about Laptis, the first builders, or even you, Numens. He drew a shaky breath, the words tumbling out like confessions held too long. I cheated. In the trial. I used my power to win, and I regret it. I'm not a leader. I'm not a savior. I'm just a boy who got seduced by pride and success. This gift, this curse, only opened a door to something I never should have touched. More power. And now, I don't want any of it. Please, he whispered. I just want to go home. Sebastian, Numens said gently, I am deeply sorry for the burden I have placed upon you. The weight of preserving life on your Fraser is no small task, and I understand now that you may not have been ready for it. I regret that you were made to endure so much without full understanding. But even after everything you've been through, I must tell you this truth. You cannot return to the life you had before the Elysium. Earth is no longer within my domain. If you go back, it will not be the home you once knew. I know this is difficult to accept, but I believe you will find your path in this new reality and fulfill your purpose to protect the life you cherish. Numens paused. His gaze deepened, as if peering into the threads of reality itself. Then he continued, his voice softer, heavier. If I remain bound, Earth will become Laptis's playground, its time unspooling in chaos, its laws unwritten. Sebastian lowered his head. The image of Earth, fractured by ungoverned time, consumed by a god of power, flashed behind his eyes. I don't know. It's like I'm trapped in a maze, and the exit keeps drifting further away. I know I have to keep moving, but I don't know if I have what it takes. Everything I've seen, everything I've felt, it's terrifying. And I can't even imagine what's waiting next. Please, do not be afraid, Numens replied, his voice like a steady flame in the dark. I know the truth is overwhelming, and the road before you uncertain. But in all my existence, stretching across the fabric of time, I have never encountered someone with your strength. You may not see it yet, but you carry power few have ever known. You are not a fraud, Sebastian. You are not a lie. Your gift is not a curse. It is a reflection of your inner strength. Embrace it, and it will become your greatest ally. Now, take a moment. Reflect on what you truly desire. Sebastian clenched his fists, eyes narrowing with conflict. "It's obvious what I want," he muttered. "I want my life back. I want things to be simple again. I'm not a god, Numens. I'm just a person. You look after entire worlds. You know all things. But did you ever really stop to understand how I feel? Did you think about how lost I'd be? You gave me this task, this gift. But what about me? Who's going to help me?" His voice cracked. "How am I supposed to know what's right or wrong? Who to trust? What to believe? Where is the fair, kind God I prayed to as a kid? Because I can't find him anymore." Numens was silent for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was almost a whisper, but it carried across the stars. "My child, I feel the pain burning in your soul. You are my creation, and I love you deeply. I would have given anything to spare you from this suffering, but I too must obey the laws that govern this vast and intricate universe. There are limits even I cannot cross. Please forgive me for not intervening in the way you needed. I am with you always, and though I cannot carry your burden for you, I will do everything within my power to guide you, to ease your path toward the light." He paused. "Sebastian," he continued softly, "I do not wish for you to make the most important decision of your life in this moment. You have seen what is at stake. You now know that you hold the power to save your planet and all that you hold dear. But the road ahead will not be easy. You will be tested, you will fight, and you will suffer, but it is the path of life. If you choose to walk it, I will walk beside you. Come back to this place when you are ready. The way will be revealed. And if you decide to step away, to abandon the journey, I will honor that too. It is better you never know what you would have faced. And still, I will love you. I will support you, no matter what you choose." The words lingered, echoing not in his ears, but in the deepest corners of his being. Warmth pulsed through him, then slowly faded. Darkness returned, weightlessness, silence, then breath. Sebastian found himself once again lying on his bed, disoriented. But this time, it wasn't just confusion that filled him. It was a storm of memory and meaning. His life before had been simple, imperfect, yes, but his. A loving family, close friends, a future. And now he had seen beyond that life, had touched something vast and terrifying. He didn't feel ready, but readiness, he realized, was no longer the point. What mattered was choice. No matter what Laptus could promise, Sebastian would not turn away. He couldn't. Not while the world he loved teetered on the edge. With that silent conviction etched into his chest, he sat up, drew a steady breath, and rose, ready to face whatever came next. And then he knew. He had chosen. Something shimmered before him, like starlight woven into silk, delicate yet impossibly strong. It wasn't just light, it was real, a thread, tangible, suspended in the air. And Sebastian knew somehow it wasn't only matter, it was memory, connection, destiny. A thread that bound him not only to Numens, but to every choice he had made, and everyone he had yet to make. Sebastian reached for it. As his fingers closed around the strand, he felt its quiet pull, subtle, but resolute. He held on, and walked forward.